Our Holy Father just came out with a document on keeping the Sundays Sabbath holy. He called it sacred rest. Sacred rest. Well, there are a lot of people have to work on Sundays, like nurses, doctors, pharmacists sometimes, nursing home. But that's charity. And now it's so prevalent everywhere that most shopping is done on Sunday and most work is done on Sunday. That's not necessary work. So we see we're getting to a place in the world where we don't know truth anymore. And that's why I'm saying, examine yourself. Do I know the truth about myself? That's a great gift from God.
As you saw there, Mother Angelica was lamenting that most shopping is done on Sundays. And you may wonder, why is that a big deal? Well, it's something that even I growing up never thought about. We shopped on Sundays. It was kind of like it's just another day. But it wasn't till a Sunday homily by our fraternity priest who said that you should not shop on Sunday if you're able to. And it comes from many things, but we'll go to the Catechism. In 2184, it says, just as God rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had done, human life has a rhythm of work and rest. The institution of the Lord's Day helps everyone enjoy adequate rest and leisure to cultivate their familial, cultural, societal, and religious lives. It continues on to say in 2187, sanctifying Sundays and holy days requires a common effort. Every Christian should avoid making unnecessary demands on others that would hinder them from observing the Lord's Day. Traditional activities, sports, restaurants, etc., and social necessities, public services, etc., require some people to work on Sundays, but everyone should still take care to set aside sufficient time for leisure. It's saying that every Christian should do what they can to allow others to observe the Lord's Day. And we see that the Lord's Day is Sunday. He rose from the dead. And we, look back to the 10 Commandments, keep holy the Sabbath. That is our Sabbath. So how do we keep it holy? We go to Mass. And what happens is when companies see Sunday as just another work day, it does not allow people to go to Mass and many other things. But when we look into malls and grocery stores, do these need to be open on a Sunday? Let's hear what Patrick Madrid has to say. Patrick is well loved within the Catholic world, and here's what he says.
Going to the grocery store shopping on Sunday, the Lord's Day, it can be sinful. And that might surprise some people. We live in a culture now where it's just sort of de rigueur that if the kids have soccer games, you spend all of Sunday at the soccer field, lots of shopping and outings and things that take place. And I'll be the first one to say, yeah, there are times when my wife and I will go out to a restaurant after Mass is over or go get a donut and a coffee or something like that. So I would argue that that type of thing, because it's part of your rest on the Lord's Day, it's part of recreation, you're spending time with your family, there's leisure involved, there's joy in celebrating with food and such, and you have to get food from somewhere, that none of those things would be certainly, I would say certainly they're not seriously sinful, and I would argue that they're not even sinful. And I would base my claim on what Pope John Paul II of blessed memory wrote. He wrote an apostolic letter called Dies Domini, which is Latin for the Day of the Lord. And he goes through, I would encourage you to read this. It's very, very illuminating. His point is that we have largely forgotten this commandment, and most Catholics, not to mention many other people, just don't even really pay much attention to the Church's and God's commandment that the Church echoes, that we have to keep this day holy. So, if on Sunday you're doing things that you could do other days of the week, and you are working, catching up on your, things that are actual work, the Church commonly would call that servile work, those things should be avoided. And instead, the day should be given over to things like family time, reading, take a nap if you like, take a long walk with your wife, enjoy a sports game. There are many ways that you can observe this day in a godly way, and he lists them in some detail. But let's say that your wife says, I've got all week to do shopping, but I didn't get around to it, so today I'm going to go shopping and do all the family groceries. I'd say that's kind of an infringement on the commandment to keep holy the Lord's Day. because that's a kind of work. It's a chore that you could otherwise do some other day of the week. Now, a lot of verbiage there. Does that give you greater clarity, Justin?
How about from the angle of employees who may be forced to work on a Sunday that wouldn't otherwise want to? Retail or food service?
In those situations, if the first thing would be if it's necessary for the common good, then there is no conflict with this. If you're a police officer and you've got to go in on Sunday, no conflict. If you're a retail worker, so let's say that you're working at a store and this is your livelihood and you have to feed your family, and your boss says, well, we got you scheduled for Sunday, and let's say you made a good faith effort. I'd really like to not work on Sunday if I could avoid it. I'm Catholic. I try to take Sunday off. And if the boss says, sorry, we need you on Sunday. If you can't work on Sunday, then you don't have a job here. Then you're not in conflict because you're not doing something sinful. You're not intentionally flouting the commandment to keep the Lord's Day holy. You're doing something out of necessity and for a good reason. So that person, no. Now, let's just ratchet it up one more notch if we can, Justin. Let's say that you have a job in a retail store and the owner gives you that freedom to not work on Sunday if you don't want to. And then you say, yeah, but I'll make more money if I work on Sunday. I might get time and a half if I work on Sunday or whatever. Then I would say, yeah, you're probably infringing on the commandment because it is work and it's unnecessary work because you could do it any other day of the week and you're doing it anyway. And let's assume that you don't have a family to feed. It's just you'd like some extra money in your bank account. Yeah, I would say that's probably going over the line if that gets to the heart of your question about the retail worker.
Right. Well, I'm thinking more like, are we making it an economic environment or being forced to work where if more people took, the Lord's Day seriously, less people would be forced to work that day, more on a societal level.
In theory, you're absolutely right. If only we did live in a society in which people really took this commandment seriously, what you're saying is right on target. But we live in this world, and we have to make do with the circumstances as they are. So, and God knows that. So he's not going to zap somebody who's trying to feed his family and the boss says he's got to work on Sunday or he doesn't have a job.
How do we change this? Many people may remember that when they were growing up, stores were closed on Sundays. Chick-fil-A is closed on Sunday because Sunday is the day we worship God. It's the day we make time for family. It's the day we rest. It's a different day. And I had never really thought about that growing up. We went to the grocery store like no problem. Then when I married Anne-Marie, she's like, yeah, my dad would never want me to go work on a Sunday. She would, sell perfume or something in the mall. And he was always like, you shouldn't do that. Like, this is not necessary. And that was so interesting for me to hear. And then when I heard it from the pulpit, unless you need to go to the store, you shouldn't go to the store. You have 7 days in a week. Obviously, the weekends are times where people are off work. It's easier to go to the grocery store probably. Kids can be watched and people can get out and go to the grocery store. Do it on a Saturday. Do it Saturday night. Do it Saturday morning. Obviously, Saturday during the day sometimes is really busy, but by altering the way that we thought, it's really changed our Sunday into a day of rest and a day of prayer. It's totally transformed our family. It's been really neat to just have that family time on Sunday versus going out to the store or going shopping. It can get us into a consumer mindset. So by making that slight adjustment and going Saturday night or Friday or whatever, we're able to enjoy Sunday and just pray and read and enjoy family time, watch movies, go to the park, and of course go to Mass. Whatever we can do to make this day holy, to make it set apart, that we know Sunday is different. As Jesus said, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So don't go crazy about this. If you open your fridge on Sunday and there's no food and you have to go shopping, it's not the end of the world, right? But try to orient your lives in a way that you go shopping on Saturday night. So on Sunday, you can truly rest and enjoy family time and worship God as he would like. So definitely go to Mass on Sunday and try to shop less, only if it's necessary. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share it because I don't think a lot of people know this. I didn't myself until a couple years ago. So hope this has been beneficial to you. Have a blessed day and God love you.